the banks of the River Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine. It's a place I love best, 'cause it's better than the rest. Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne. There's lights that burn so brightly, in the northeast sky they shine. From the place that Geordies worship, where legends wear number 9. You can travel right round the world, even meet the Pope in Rome. But nothing beats the feeling of when you come back here to home. No matter how life changes, we'll never be far apart. The northeast always home, and it's always in your heart. Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to It's All Black and White TV. And yes, it's the Newcastle United 4, Brighton 1 match review and player ratings as well. Tonight I'm joined by Roly. How are you, Roly?
I'm good, thanks. Still a little worn out from all the adrenaline and the excitement from last night. Still buzzing. Just can't wait for Monday.
Absolutely. I mean, Kel was going to join us tonight, but unfortunately he's had to pull out. He's still suffering a very bad hangover. So serves him right for going to the pub. But there again, I couldn't exactly go to the pub because I got to work the next morning. So that's the only problem with that. So Kel unfortunately can't join us tonight, but he will be on another show in the near future, that's for sure. So guys and girls, if you like what you see, then please smash the like. It does help the channel with the search results, so do smash those likes. That would be absolutely fantastic. Also, if you are brand new to the channel, then please smash the subscribe. It's free to do so. Come and join this wonderful community we have here, and that bell notification tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming show. So I'm currently on 573 subscribers, so thank you very much indeed. 27 away now from 600, so that would be absolutely fantastic to hit the 600 mark. And also, if you want to make a donation, there is a link in the chat. Just click the link and follow the instructions. So get them bits out the way, and I'll go to some comments because the comments are coming in. Bia says, evening, Tony, Roly and chat. Good evening to you, Bia. Hope you're well, mate. And, fantastic after last night. Alan House says, good evening, everybody. Good evening to you, Alan. I hope you're very well, mate. Sefton says, even though onwards and upwards, absolutely, Sefton, absolutely, mate, yeah, definitely. Ian says, evening, Tony, Roly and chat. Good evening to you, Ian. Hope you're well. And what is a lovely sunny evening here, by the way. Jack says, evening all. Good evening to you, Jack. Lee says, evening, Tony and Roly. Fantastic result for last. Bring on Leicester. Let's have another great result. Come on the two, and absolutely, we'll be talking about that as well. Yeah. One thing I am going to say, I did see it on Twitter, and in some ways, and I thought, I can see where the guy's coming from, because, we should. He's hoping that the Newcastle fans may be a little bit more respectful to Leicester on Monday night, especially if they get relegated, if we send them down. He says, what I don't want is the fans to disrespect them by chanting, you've gone down to the Championship and all this. He says, because we've been in the same position, so, we should have a bit of sentiment towards them. Whether it'll get taken notice of is another matter. At the end of the day, fans will be fans, and unfortunately that's what happens. But, I can see where he's coming from. I do see what he's saying, because, yes, we did suffer 2 relegations under the horrendous previous owner that we had in the club.
I think we're more likely to be, because if we're beating Leicester, it means we're in the Champions League. And I think we'll probably be singing more about going to the Champions League than them going to the Championship.
Absolutely. Alan says, Newcastle will win the Champions League. I don't think so next season, mate.
Not next season.
Alan says, no sympathy for hangovers. Alcohol is horrible stuff. Tastes well. I know I'm a minority, but I hate the stuff. Absolutely, Alan.
Well,
I
it's up to you.
get where you're coming from. Yep, that's absolutely fine, mate. Gadia says, "Hey up, lads, how buzzing are we?" We're absolutely buzzing, mate. Absolutely buzzing. I mean, after last night's tremendous game, I mean, yeah, we're all buzzing, you know. But again, you know, the media don't give us the credit we deserve. They just keep saying, well, Brighton didn't play very well. It's got nothing to do with Brighton playing well. It's got to the fact that we played bloody well last night. And so, anyway, we're going to get into the match review now anyway. So, the team news was announced last night, and the Newcastle team news was an unchanged lineup with Isak and Wilson starting together again, which surprised a lot of people. You know, and obviously there wasn't a mission on the bench. There was no Murphy on the bench. Miley took his place. We knew Richie wasn't on the bench because he's got an injury, which is out for the season. And we were all quite shocked that it was an unchanged lineup, but not surprised in another way. So that was the lineup for Newcastle. Then we had the Brighton and Hove Albion lineup in that horrible orange background, which is absolutely awful to read the names of, especially the substitutes. And yeah, they lined up with Steele, Dunk, Gross, Welbeck, Lynn, Undav, Matoma, Caicedo, Gilmore, Van Hecke, Estepinian, and Buonarroti. I mean, you know, we saw that team and we thought, right, okay, no McAllister, he's on the bench, which was a bit of a surprise in all honesty. But the thing is, we didn't care what the result was as long as we got the 3 points. That was the main thing last night, is grabbing those 3 points. And we started the game off very well. We pressed them. They tried to play out from the back. It nearly went wrong on a few occasions in that first half. Maybe if it had been, you know, and Almiron's ball had that, just, you know, it's just, yeah, it's all ifs and buts. But, you know, it's just such a shame. The ball had a bit too much weight on it. But, you know, we got the 2 goals, both from set pieces. The first one was Dennis Undav, straight into the back of his own net, flicked off his head. They can go anywhere, you know, but majority of the time, if they're an inch perfect corner like that was from Trippier, then once you flick that off your head, that's only going one way, and that's going the back of the net, and there's nothing you can do about it. And then the second one, Byrne had the freedom at St James's Park, just like Elan did on Saturday. And he got round the back and he put in a lovely header, controlled header into the far corner, and nothing the goalkeeper could do about that one. I think Jason Steele kept him in the game the first half. You know, we could have been 3 or 4 up by half time, in all honesty, if we'd put our chances away. But we were dominant. Second half starts, they come out with a bit of fight. They brought on McAllister. We knew this was going to happen anyway. They made changes, and you know, they looked a different threat once McAllister was on. They got a goal through Dennis Undav. After scoring his own goal, he then scores a goal at the right end for Brighton. And all honesty, we thought, right, okay, 2-1. This is making it a bit more nervous because Brighton started playing quite well after that, and you know, the nerves were there until Trippier got the ball to Miggy, and then Miggy, just what a ball from Miggy, and what a great thing from Callum Wilson to stay on side as well, to, you know, just to keep the lane and stay on side, because it looked like he was offside, but when you watched it on the replay, he wasn't offside. It was just very tight, inch perfect, and he went off and scored, albeit it did hit Steele's foot, but there's nothing Steele could do about it. And then the 4th goal came within a minute later of that. Callum Wilson in the box, unselfish, rolls it across to Bruno. Bruno in the back of the net, makes it 4-1. And yeah, at the end, Callum Wilson probably could have scored a 5th and his 2nd goal of the evening. Fortunately, it went straight to the goalkeeper. And I think he realised he'd missed a chance there to get another brace. But all in all, we picked up the 3 points, and that now means we're 3 points closer to that all-important top 4 place and a spot in next season's UEFA Champions League. I'm just going to go into some comments and I'll get Roly's thoughts on last night's game. So Wayne says, hello, lads, and all in chat. Hi, Wayne. Hope you're well. Agadia says, Brighton did play very well. We just outplayed them. Absolutely, we did. Yeah, definitely. Alan said, I couldn't watch it because I was busy. Oh, not great, mate, but I hope you've seen the highlights because, or if you get a chance to rewatch the game, just have a look. Alan says, did you both think that was one of the best performances of the season? Pressing then was impressive. I thought the pressing in that first half was absolutely tremendous. I mean, the way we were on them every time. Caicedo right back, I didn't think looked the right fit, in all honesty. I thought it looked misshaped. I wasn't that impressed with them being at right back. All in all, we really, really pressed them. But it's like when we have played in games, when we've pressed teams and we've gone on to win and win comfortably. And yes, we were comfortable at half time, but the second half, Brighton just made it that little bit more interesting. But then, we got the goals, and that's all that matters when we won the game. But do I think it's the best performance of the season? It's up there. It's up there. I would say probably the best performance of the season has got to be Tottenham.
Yeah.
521 minutes, that's got to be the best performance. Yes, I know in the second half of that game we took a foot off the gas because being 5-0 up, you're not going to keep going for the alley more. But I thought the Tottenham one is probably up there as probably the best, or maybe the Man United one at home's maybe the best performance of the season. But yeah. But you're definitely right there, Alan. I mean, Roly, what do you think? Do you think that was the best performance of the season, or one of them?
It's one of them. I think, without a doubt, the best performance of the season is against Spurs. And it's got to be if you're 5-0 up in 21 minutes. So it was
against the so-called Big Six.
We were. I think our press was even better against Spurs than it was last night. In the first half, I thought the way they pressed was superb because Brighton are good at playing out from the back. They like to play out from the back, and they can normally play through the press. But we didn't allow them to do that. And I think that threw them. They started to have to put the ball long, which is really against what they like to do. And we just overwhelmed them in the first half, and they were lucky they weren't 3 or 4 down at half time. I mean, they could have been 3 down before they scored because Miggy has that chance which he really should have scored. It was a decent save by the keeper, but he should be burying that one. And it's just after that they went up and got their goal back. I thought we were shaky for about another 10 minutes after that. But I think that when the sort of like 70 minutes went up on the clock, I think we're pretty comfortable after that. And then Wilson getting his goal just calmed the nerves completely. I thought he did really well on that because when you watch the replay before, Miggy actually plays the ball, he actually moves back towards the halfway line, which is why he stayed onside. And he had to run the best part of half the pitch before he could get his shot away. How many times have you seen a striker go through, have to run that far, and then fluff his lines at the end? He's got too much time to think about what he's going to do. But I thought, Callum Wilson, has this guy got ice in his veins or what? When the chips are down, like that, particularly that second penalty against Leeds last Saturday, the Iceman cometh. Ice cool. I thought in general, everybody played really well. And people have been crying out for decent set-piece delivery from Trippier. I think that's one of his best performances from dead ball situations this season. As you said, for the opening goal, you get a touch of that. A little flick on that's going in because it's in swinging. I think anyone gets a touch on that and that goes in the net. It might have gone in without the touch. It was just a superb ball in. The second one for Dan Burn. Another one. I think Dan did really well to resist the temptation to put some power on it, because all it needed is just redirecting, was what he did. Redirected it down to where it came from. Really well taken goal. Loved his celebration.
Yes.
Though I think we had something over the game. We had something like 36% possession, which you think, oh, that's not a lot. Oh, what will Brighton do? Well, they had most of that in their own half in front of their box. I mean, I think it's halfway through the first half. Their goalkeeper had the most touches on their team. Possession stats are a bit misleading. So it all depends on what you do with it. You can have 80% possession if you're just passing it between your back four and the goalkeeper. Doesn't shape it doesn't make any difference to the actual scoreline. If you have 10%, get 2 chances and score, and they don't have a shot on goal because they're passing it back and forward to each other. But I think you can't lose sight of the fact that Brighton are a very good side. They're not in the position they're in by fluke. They're there for a reason, because they're good.
Absolutely.
They've beaten some very good sides to get there. I think they might suffer from the fixture congestion. Because
I mean, you look at Brighton, Roly, and you think they beat Man United 1-0, in the penalty in the last minute. Then Everton go and thump them 5-1, which nobody expected. Then they've gone and beat Arsenal 3-0, and we've gone and beat them 4-1. There's a pattern there. That next game's Man City. Can't see them beating Man City, in all honesty. If they did, Arsenal would be opening their eyes, wouldn't they? But it would be too late for Arsenal anyway.
It's too late for Arsenal.
Yeah, but, all in all, we've beat a good Brighton side, let's be honest, because they have been so good. Janssens, a strong midfield
as well.
Yeah. You see a strong midfield and you're halfway there. You're absolutely spot on with that. And Alan says, can we talk about how well the women's team are doing, please? Do you know what it is, Alan? I think the women's team have been absolutely fantastic this season, considering they missed out on promotion last season. But they put it right this season, and it ended up going to the last game of the season, right the wire, exciting stuff. And to go and beat Barnsley and get promoted, absolutely fantastic. And if they get promoted next season, if they can win next season and get promoted, they then go to the Championship. So technically, we're about 2 or 3 seasons away from getting to the WSL if you go by promotions every season. That's going to be fantastic. Eventually, we get into the WSL. The women's team, at least under these owners, is being revived. It's being taken under their stewardship. They haven't been left to just rack and ruin to do whatever they want to do. These owners recognise the women's team, and they are doing a grand job of that as well. Yeah. So the women have been absolutely fantastic.
Too much about the women's team. Obviously, I know they got promoted. They've had some terrific results. They played a few games at St James's Park and had some really good attendances. I'm not sure if they get to the Women's Champions League, or if it's the Women's Super League, that affects the parent club's FFP for the men's side. I know it's one of the two.
I'm not sure, Roly, but by the time they get there, our FFP should be way up.
Yeah, no, but it means you can spend. It gives you even more leeway, which is another reason to back them. And I think it's quite good that they've got a champion in Amanda Staveley to drive them forward. They've done a really good job. So hats off to them. Now, let's hope they now have to go again in a better league. Hopefully, I'm sure that there'll be some of the girls will be still there, and some might move on, and we'll get some players from to obviously strengthen so that they can push to get promoted a second time.
Yeah, absolutely. Alan says, as good as a team Brighton is, I don't think we gave them any time possession. Toon very redundant, absolutely. We didn't give them any possession whatsoever. We didn't give them time in possession,
but not in dangerous
not time.
areas.
Man U at home for me, says Tangi was the best. He says, but Spurs were shite and woeful. Yeah, they were, weren't the Spurs were absolutely
but
poor.
we made them shite and woeful.
Yeah, Alan says, I said one of them. Agree about the Tottenham performance being the best, yeah. Paul says the City game was our best performance of the season, especially after how many teams City have blown away. Do you know what, Paul? You're actually thinking about it. Do you know what? There's been so many good games. That's the thing. I mean, yeah. You look at that City game. What a game that was. I mean, we were 3-1 up in that game, you know. And then we had Pep Guardiola saying after the game, this is a great point for City. So, you know, for him to recognise that.
I think the other reason why that could possibly be the best performance of the season, because that's at a time where we didn't really know how good we were.
Yeah.
That was in October, and we hadn't realised actually we're very, very good.
Yeah.
So that's up there as well. I just think for the clinical finishing, that's why the Tottenham game is my best performance of the season, because though Tottenham are woeful, they are they were one of the best sides in the league until they came to St James's Park. They've fallen apart since then.
BS says time for a Mickey statue. Not just yet. Tanchi says Lewis Dunk has the highest pass completion percentage in the Premier League. I think it's probably because he pass it around at the back. Do you know what? I think he's quite a good defender, and he should have more England caps than he has. He's only got one England cap. Why he's not ahead of Harry Maguire in that England team, I do not know, because I think he's
Eric Diabolical, as I like to call him.
I think he's a terrific centre half.
And
if he was younger, I would say yes.
On Joe Linton,
yes,
where Joe Linton tests it down, turns. He gets the shot away, but
he gets his body in the way.
Danger and managed to get the block in.
I mean, if he was younger, I would say yes, I would love him at the tune, but he's 31 now, and I think he'll see the rest of his career out of Brighton, in all honesty. Alan says, yeah, their possessions in the box, lol, absolutely. Daniela says, well done last night, happy hammer, watch both games in a pub in East London. Yeah, Daniela, do you know what? Well done to West Ham, getting into the Europa Conference final. That's 2 English teams into 2 European finals. Sad the scenes at the end of that game, though, where the families of the West Ham players, there was idiots from the home team, from Alkmaar, and I'll not say idiots, I'll call them thugs more than anything. Absolutely disgraceful scenes at the end of that. I do hope UEFA look into this, and the Dutch authorities. I know the manager of AZ Alkmaar come out and slammed his own supporters for it as well, and well done to him for doing that. There's no room in football for that. Shouldn't be going on, and I hope everybody's fine. You could see the players were visibly upset. I've seen the pictures and I've seen the footage. You know, the players are visibly upset, trying to get to their families to make sure they're all right because of mindless idiots. That's what they are, mindless idiots. And, you know, it needs to be kicked out. And UEFA need to make a stand. I think what they need to do is say to Alkmaar, you're banned from Europe for a couple of years or whatever. Or give them behind closed doors games, because something will have to be done. I'm sure something will be done, but no, once again, well done, Daniela, for your team. And, you know, you've got Fiorentina in the final.
All I can say to Daniela is, you've got to the final, now go and win it.
Yeah.
Well,
I think they'll give Fiorentina a good game.
Yeah.
Craig says, how has had his tactics spot on? First half had the press set up perfect. Second half sat back and then I hit them on the break. Absolutely. Daniela says, you spanking the sports was class. I thought you'd say that, yeah. Lee says, Byrne had an outstanding game. Yes, he did, absolutely.
Yeah.
Craig says, quite a few standout games. Joe Linton was a beast. Miggy was electric. Byrne was like prime Maldini. Trips pocketed Mitoma. And add to that, Wilson leading the lane, and we had some top performances. We did. And what about the Botman challenge as well on Matoma when he got that block in? That was a hell of a block, because if he didn't, he was in and he would have scored more than anything. But no doubt he would have scored. But, for Botman, brilliant. Alan says, yeah, we kind of ended Spud's top four. They faded away since the half. Alan says, Almiron could have scored if it wasn't for the own goal. He could have, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And he possibly should have scored. He should have scored the third, because he had a brilliant chance to score, and he shot straight at the goalkeeper, and they went up the other end and scored. So had he scored a 3-0, it was game over, but that's how it happens.
It's surprising as well, because it was on his left foot.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Roly. And I don't know, but it doesn't matter, because we've won the game at the end of the day, and we did win it comfortably 4-1. So, and even De Zerbi said, at the end of the game, we deserve the Champions League football. And, big up to Roberto De Zerbi, because, he come out and he said, we deserved that game and we were brilliant. And he's praised us. So, he's not like some of these managers who are so salty. It's unbelievable, tomorrow, every Newcastle fan's going to be a Villa fan tomorrow, because we're all going to want... And it's unusual for it to all be Villa fans tomorrow to say, come on, Villa, win it. Because if Villa win tomorrow, we've got Champions League regardless. We don't, but if it's a draw, we've still got to get at least a point. So, we've got Champions League just about anyway, but it's just not confirmed yet, that's all. It's not mathematically there yet, but, we know it's going to get there, but let's hope we're not going to leave it till last game.
No.
I couldn't believe when I saw the Liverpool Echo say the supercomputer's got a thing that Leicester will get 2 draws in the last 2 games, and I thought, well, they ain't going to get a draw against us, so how's the supercomputer even predicted that? But I don't go a lot on that.
I saw an interesting statistic. I'm not sure I saw it, but saying that we haven't lost when Bruno, Longstaff, and Willock had played together in midfield.
Yeah. We saw Joe Willock go off with an injury, which looked like a bad hamstring injury. And apparently he left on crutches last night as well, so that means he could be out for the season now. I don't think he'll be back now till pre-season. I think that's his season done, in all honesty.
It looked bad, because when it's bad when the player pulls up straight away and starts waving to the bench. And it's a shame for that lad, because he's been playing so well, and they're going to be naming him the England squad, and he would have been in contention for that.
One thing I noticed last night watching the game as well, and people who were probably at the stadium probably saw it as well, and it's something I've not really seen this season, but I saw it last night from Eddie Howe. He looked very agitated on that touchline. Very animated, very agitated, and you don't normally see Eddie Howe get agitated on the touchline. And I think, because it was when we were just winning 2-1, and you could see he was trying to get messages across to players to get things sorted out. And I was looking at Eddie Howe and I'm thinking, this is not like you. And I thought, no, because I know what's happening. You're wanting Champions League so badly for us. And Eddie Howe was feeling the nerves last night. You could see it, and that's exactly what it is. And do you know what? There's nothing wrong with that, because if you don't feel nerves, you're not human. So, to feel nerves. And it was so, even the crowd seemed to be a bit nervous because you could hear it creeping in. And, it was like we were back, it was like a relegation game, wasn't it? Where you get a bit anxious because you don't want to make a mistake that puts you in the bottom 3 or whatever. But, yeah, I'm not saying it was a relegation game, because it wasn't. It was for top 4. But, what I'm saying is the atmosphere had that feel. But once we got the 3rd, that was it. And then the 4th, it was just like, yeah, okay, how many we're going to win by? We had 8 minutes of stoppage time as well. So, yeah, I was just quite surprised when I saw Eddie Howe looking like that. Daniela says, Brighton played a weird game. What do you think of that? It seems teams are free to go direct. I couldn't understand why he left McAllister out the side. I don't know what his reasoning was for it. We've not heard why his reasoning was. Probably trying to rotate.
Yeah, I think it's rotation because they've got so many games. They've still got 3 games left to play in basically a week. So I think it's probably assessed the fitness and the tiredness of the squad because they've been doing that for quite some time now. Because they had to catch up with the games they had postponed because of the FA Cup, and obviously we're in the Carabao Cup final when they were supposed to be playing us. So they have to squeeze all those games in before next weekend. So they've been playing sort of like every 3 days. So it's glad they didn't start, but it's just one of those things that sometimes you have to, on that schedule, you need to rest players.
Yeah.
If you haven't got a strong enough squad. Though, even when they do rotate, they're still a very good side. We've got some really good players.
I mean,
and they're one of their fortes is playing through the press. I mean, when we went down to the Amex,
yeah,
they were repeatedly playing through our press. We just executed it a lot better this time. That's what they did to Arsenal. They just ripped them apart playing through the press because they got the technical players to do that. So they've done it so often this season. Why are they going to change? And then when they do change, it's psychological. There are lots of loose passes when they're trying to go a bit longer and stuff to try and get through us because our press was so good.
Yeah, absolutely, Roly. I mean, Paul says it there in his, his question there. Do you think we get Maddison and Barnes? Do you know what it is? James Maddison, I think once he sees he knows what he's playing at. He knows what the ground's like anyway, but you'll see a different atmosphere on Monday night. He might actually walk out and think, do you know what? I want to be part of this. And I still think we'll get Maddison in the summer. I really do. Because obviously, once Leicester go down, they'll have to sell him. Not only will they have to sell him, but there's no way James Maddison's staying in the Championship. Also, they're losing out on money here because they should have sold him last summer when they had the chance to, and they didn't. So when they sell him this time round, he's going to go for a little bit cheaper than what he was than his value would have been last season. Mm-hmm. What Leicester are forgetting is they owe Norwich 15% of any sale. So any sale that goes through, they got to give Norwich 15%. And it's got to be paid straight away, not in instalments to Norwich. It's in the contract. So the thing is, Norwich will be looking at this and thinking, I hope they sell him in the summer. I hope he goes. But the only thing you feel for Norwich is they're not going to get as much this time because they could have had a lot more last summer, if they decide to sell him. But Harvey Barnes, I would definitely have Harvey Barnes as well. He's quality. He really is. I know Roly doesn't agree with me, but I think Harvey Barnes is quality, Roly. He's got a lot of good qualities.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's quality. I just think that now we're going to be playing in the Champions League, we'll be looking at a better quality player.
Yeah.
It's not that I think that Barnes is terrible. I just think that in the summer we'll be aiming higher. I think Maddison is top draw. But I think that we'll be. I mean, I think we'll be looking at players of the quality of Szoboszlai and Diaby, Marcus Thuram, who are a whole level above Harvey Barnes. I think Harvey Barnes will stay in the Premier League because there are a lot of clubs that would take him because he's a very good player. I just don't think he's at that level that we'll be looking at once we've secured the Champions League football either tomorrow or Monday. you then start looking at a better quality of player. I think that if we'd only qualified for the Europa League, Harvey Barnes would be an excellent addition. But we're going to be playing Champions League.
I mean, but the thing is, Roly, this season, Harvey Barnes has started 31 out of 32 games and he's scored 12 goals.
Yeah.
And he's got one assist.
I'm not disparaging what he's been able to do this season. And
he's playing in a poor Leicester side this season.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. I'm not saying that. I just think that we'll be looking at... I think he was in the wish list if we qualify for Europa League. Now we've qualified for the Champions League, I think we're looking at a better quality of player. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that by any stretch of the imagination that he's a bad player and that he should never come to the team. I just think that we'll be looking at a better quality player. It's like we were shopping at Poundland with the previous owner, and then depending on where we are going to end, if we are going to end up in the Europa Conference, would be like shopping at Aldi, and then the Europa League would be like shopping at Sainsbury's. But now we're at the Champions League. It's like shopping at Harrods. that's you can afford to get a better quality. So he is a top class Premier League player. So we're looking for better than that. That's just my point. It's not that. And if we were to buy him, it wouldn't be a bad addition, but it'd be more as a squad player than someone that would be necessarily pushing to start.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I will see what happens in the summer. Craig says, I want Liverpool to beat Man U to Champions League. That'd be funny. Pete's in the chat, he says, if
I'd
Aston Villa
neither of them qualified.
Pete says, if Aston Villa beat Liverpool tomorrow, Klopp can go and hang his teeth up in the Football Museum. I hope you enjoyed that, Pete. I saw your video. Brilliant, mate. Bia says, Liverpool fans going crazy on Twitter calling it a Premier League conspiracy. They're not getting top four. Emailing Brighton over corruption. I've seen this. Yeah. Yes, it's absolutely pathetic. Saying that Brighton just played a weekend side so we can get Champions League, that's a load of tosh. Absolute load of crap. And the thing is,
corruption.
The problem is, Liverpool want to start throwing stones at their own houses because at the end of the day, look no further than Jurgen Klopp and ask why their team has played so crap most of the season and now they've just started picking up. The problem with Liverpool was getting rid of Mane is the biggest mistake they ever made.
And you're spot on there, Tony. The reason that Liverpool might not qualify for the Champions League is because they had a horrendous start to the season.
Yeah, they did.
And the middle of the season, they're on a good run now, and they've been very lucky with a couple of the wins they've got. The Fulham one in particular, because that was never a penalty. But I gave it them and they scored it. And they've gone on this run. But the thing is, they had too much. It could end up that they had too much to make up.
The thing is, really, it started off with a 2-2 draw at Fulham at the start of the season. And what was the first thing Klopp said? He says, we would have won this game, he says, but it was that pitch. That pitch was awful, he says, we couldn't get anywhere near. He says, we were lucky to get 2 goals on that pitch. And I thought, what are you blaming the pitch for? Blame your team, mate. It's your teams that's not playing well, not the pitch. It's got nothing to do with the pitch.
Because they lost to Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
They lost to Leeds at Anfield. That's why they're not higher. I don't know who I want to take the other Champions League. It's
going to either be Man U or Liverpool, so just
I prefer it to be Brighton, but I think the defeat last night and the fact that they've got to play Manchester City still means that they're not going to make it.
Andrew says, "I read lads, yeah, mate." He says, is it Monday yet? No, Andrew, it's Friday. Coffee,
Andrew, I
Tony,
think I
Roly
can
and all.
guess your prediction for the game on Monday, Andrew. It's not 7-0 by any chance.
Coffee says hi, Tony, Roly and all.
Hi,
and I'm dying to hear what Coffee's prediction will be for Monday. Daniela says, I think we beat Leicester. Everyone thinks West Ham will be on the beach due to the final, but it's not how Moyes does things. It's like I said last night, Daniela, and I've said previously, these fans from like Leeds and Leicester who think that if West Ham have qualified for the final, which you have now, if they think for 1 minute that those players are going to rest on their laurels and just not go hard and play these games, they've got another thing coming. Because the thing is, one, on Sunday, your team is on a high because we're in a final now. So Leeds are going to feel that effect on Sunday. And I think West Ham will go out there and beat Leeds comfortably. And I really do, at the London Stadium. Then you've got Leicester away. By the time you play Leicester away, they could be relegated anyway. Because if Everton win tomorrow, then if we beat Leicester on Monday, they're gone. They're relegated. They can't get out of it. So, so at the end of the day, but even if Leicester can fight till the end of the season and say they've got a chance at the end of the season because Everton didn't win tomorrow and they don't win against Bournemouth, and Leicester, if they beat you, then would get out the relegation zone at the expense of Everton. But the thing is, even if you play a few fringe players in your team on the last day against Leicester, those fringe players are still going to make sure that their game is 100% because they'll be saying to Moyes, well, I'm going to make it hard for you to pick your starting 11 for that final because now you've let us play. We've now thrown the curveball in and shown you how good we are. So who's going to be your starting 11? And that'll give Moyes a massive headache. So Leicester and Leeds needn't think that West Ham will be sitting back and relaxing because there's no chance that'll happen. There's no way David Moyes will allow it to happen. And he'll want to finish on as many points as he possibly can. Yeah. So,
I'm going to upset Daniela here because I want Leeds to win on tomorrow. And it's not particularly because I have a massive dislike to West Ham. It's more that if Leeds win, there's a bigger chance of the Scouse Mackems getting relegated.
Yeah. Craig says Caicedo was lucky VAR didn't pull the ref for his shoulder to Joe Linton's head.
Well, it wasn't his head, it was his solar plexus.
Yeah.
But it was an elbow in there. It's a naughty one, that.
There is a scummy what must be a Viking, says Andrew. Pete says the Altmore fans are a disgrace. They are, Pete.
Yeah.
I said that earlier. Yeah, they are. They're absolutely disgusting. And I hope UEFA come down hard on them. Craig says it was a big game. We've got to get used to big games. This will be plenty more. As Tripp said, pressure is a privilege. Do you know what it is, though,
Absolutely.
Craig? I said on the show last night, on the pre-match show, I said, I'm chilled. I'm relaxed for this game. I wasn't nervous one bit. Not even when they were at 2-1 was I nervous. No. Was I looking at the clock thinking, hurry up, 90 minutes? No. Because I had every faith in the team getting through this game. Once we got ahead, I had every faith. And that is why I said last night I was chilled and relaxed. A lot of people in the comments, were a bit nervous. Roly was a bit nervous. But
just a little bit.
But I was chilled and I was relaxed. And do you know what?
I think the thing is that we've got to get used to the fact that we're a bloody good team. And we've been bad for so long that everyone's waiting for the old Newcastle to come back. But I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. That Newcastle's gone forever. Have you gone on mute?
I was on mute. Sorry. Yeah, my mic was on mute there. But yeah. I mean, last night was just fantastic. Andrew's got a comment here, and he says, Hi, Peter. He's talking to Pete Proudlock saying, I hope they get closed down. That shouldn't happen at any stadium these days. It shouldn't be, no.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's disgusting. Daniela says, but Southampton would be the game to rest players. You don't have Southampton, do you?
I think she's talking about Brighton.
Oh, Brighton. Yeah, Brighton, yeah. Sorry, Daniela. Yeah, I would have thought Brighton would have...
I was surprised at the rest of them, but again, we don't see them in training and know their fitness, whether they're carrying knocks or anything.
Yeah, that's the thing, Roly, isn't it? We don't know, do we? So,
especially if we don't follow Brighton, so we're not going to know what's going on down there.
Alan says, if a team gets destroyed by Brighton, the Seagulls, at them because they're shit. Oh, okay. Alan says, unless Man City won the Champions League, Howe must get manager of the season. City were expect to win the league, so Pep not really done anything special unless they win the Champions League. Yeah, if they win the treble, I think Pep gets manager of the season without a shadow of doubt. Let's hope Inter Milan turn up in that final and maybe stop Man City getting the Champions League. So, in a harsh way, in a biased way, so Eddie Howe gets manager of the year. Alan says Bonds is a good player, would have for a reasonable price. Yeah, I would as well, Alan. That's the thing, and I really do think Eddie Howe would make him even better than he is now because he is quality.
Yeah.
Roly's not convinced.
I'm not disputing that. I just think that we'll be going for a better quality player. A younger, better, someone like that, Szoboszlai, someone that is markedly better than him and younger. That's just my opinion. But I mean, if they're looking to just add depth, Harvey Barnes is a good option. If they're looking someone that's going to potentially start, you're looking for someone better.
Tanji said, I don't think Madison or Barnes will be what I want now. I like the guy from Leipzig for 70 million, Szoboszlai. Yeah, I know what you mean, Tanji. I still think we'll go for Madison, though. Madison's still a quality player. Daniela says, I get that you may want to look at a higher level of player, but have to understand you don't have the pulling power of London.
Yeah, we've got Champions League. Yeah, we've got Champions League, though. That's the difference.
Chelsea's in for players, but I can't see them going to go to Chelsea with no European football. Kong Night in the game says John Cena calling out Dan Burn, the best thing I've seen today. Oh, that's brilliant. I've not seen that, but I'll have to have a look. If Daniela says, I get that you may want to look at a higher level. Oh, yeah, that was what you said before as well. It must have repeated twice. Kong says, the thing is, Daniela, people are taking notice now, so the city won't matter to people looking for success, not just London. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Kong. You're absolutely right. Bia says, Roly, I shop at Sainsbury's. Harrods don't do nectar points.
The thing is, we don't need nectar points if you're in the Champions League.
Newcastle shop at Harrods. They don't have to shop at Poundland no more. And we don't have to think about getting Hamza Chowdhury over the line either.
Yeah.
Coffee saying to Pete, Klopp's ivory tusks, more suited to the Museum of Natural History alongside the other wondrous fossils of woolly mammoths. Bournemouth beating Liverpool is corruption then, says Tanji. Yeah, exactly. I know what you mean. Absolutely. Alan says there was no conspiracy theory about the 1978 World Cup in Argentina. Not sure about that because I was only 6-year-old at the time, so too young. Lee says, would you think we'll get the signings in quickly and get them to settle down in the squad? I think we'll get business done quite quickly, Lee. I think once Champions League secured, I think we will start. We've probably put the feelers out there already with some players, and maybe it's just a matter of once we've got confirmation, these players might just quickly come in. But yeah, I think
the transfer window opens early this year.
Andrew says, yes, it will be the 7. He's going for 7-0.
I knew you would, Andrew.
He's going to get it right, though, one of these days, you know.
Yeah.
You're going to laugh at him, Roly, and he's going to get it right. Monday.
Maybe Monday.
Yeah. Holly, good evening, Holly. She says, we are definitely getting Champions League now. I think the result will be 3-0 or 2-0. What, on Monday? Yeah, I've said 4-0.
I said 4, but Andrew said 7.
Spot on, says Daniela. I totally understand why you want Leeds to win. I would expect that if Everton went down. She would accept that if Everton went down, yeah. BT says, looking forward, I'm concerned with our defence in the Champions League. Is there going to be a partner of the Red Sea? And what does the management do to stop this? I'm sure Eddie Howe has got everything in line. Maybe, yes, he knows where we're going to have to strengthen. And, as I say, you'll have to wait and see what the summer brings. But I'm sure the club are looking at every position going. Lee says, we defo clipped the wings last night, absolutely. YVC Tablet says, I hope Joe Linton is all right for Monday night. Yeah, he was carrying a bit of a knock, but hopefully he's fine. Let's hope. Holly says, last night was the best night of my life. Do you know what, Holly? It was absolutely fantastic. And to get, to be on the cusp of getting that Champions League, the cusp of a wave, it's just, it's there. It's in touching distance. It's not quite there yet, but, we can virtually say we're 95% there for it, So, but absolutely brilliant. And it's a great feeling to be in the Champions League. Bias says we need to stay away from Tielemans. That's not shopping at Sainsbury's. He's little quality. Wayne says, is everybody forgetting about Diaby?
Oh, no.
No, I would still have Diaby. Jesus, definitely Wayne.
Diaby. And we've got a chance of getting him now in Champions League.
Yep. Wayne's going for 7-0 as well as Andrew. Andrew, it's catching on. There's 7. Or should I do the late Len Goodman? 7. There we go. Bias says, worried about the defence. Dan Bird will pocket Mbappe. Well, yeah, Trippier pocketed Matoma last night, didn't he? So, yeah. Took him out of his pocket after the game. Lee says 5-0 win for us against Leicester. Gary says, I think the Leicester game, Gary D, I think the Leicester game will be a goal blitz, same as the Spurs game, lads. Do you know what it is, Gary? Right. The thing is with Leicester, they have to come out and play on Monday, regardless. They cannot sit back. They cannot sit back and think, we'll just soak up the pressure and try and hit us on the break. They've got to come out and play. And when Leicester come out and play, especially at St James's Park, under the lights, in front of 52,000 fans, with scarves waving, the war flags have been on, when they come out against us and they come flying out the traps, they can come flying out the traps. We win them second balls. We exploit the gaps. We'll annihilate Leicester. And I'm telling you now, we will do. And Dean Smith is not Premier League manager, I'm afraid, in my opinion. And having John Terry there as well is just a waste of space. Daniela says it all depends on what international they are. If you're going to get players in quickly, that's a thing as well, yeah. Coffee says 4-0 Newcastle from Wilson, Isak, Gordon, and an own goal by Fice. He's dreadful, that player. The shit Colaccini is absolutely terrible.
Corruption. The 2 own goals he scored for Liverpool.
How will strengthen the defence for the Champions League? Centre half and a full back. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Shame we can't get Grimaldo. He's going to Bayer Leverkusen. I can't believe he's going there. I thought we would have been all over that, in all honesty. We should have been all over that. I'm really gutted because I really like Alex Grimaldo.
I mean, the thing is, you never know that we might have been all over it, but he just wanted to go to Germany.
Just seems a strange move, in my opinion, to Leverkusen. But I'm not taking anything away from Leverkusen, but I'm just a bit a bit shocked by that one. Could be realistic for 7 goals, says Alan. Let's catching on now. Andrew, what are you doing on Monday? See, Andrew, you've got it on now, you see. Alan's picked up on it. Coffee's picking up on it. Gary's picking up on it. Paul says 5-0 to win. Wilson gets 3. Isak 1. Miggy 1. Daniela says, I'll be shocked if you lose to Leicester. Do you know what, Daniela? I'll be bloody shocked as well, I tell you. Let's hope we don't lose to Leicester. I don't think we will anyway. I think we'll be fine with that one. But yeah, it's... But the thing is, though, it's all eyes on Anfield tomorrow afternoon, and we're just looking forward to seeing what unfolds before our eyes tomorrow. And we'll all be looking at our phones probably and looking at score lines and keep checking Sky Sports Score Centre or the BBC and other outlets and saying, oh, what's the score, and if you're out and about anyway, you'll be checking your phone, and rightly so, because at the end of the day, you'll be rooting for Aston Villa. But yeah, definitely. But yeah. Anne says, just the way you described the opposition. Yeah. What, that they'll come out and play, Alan? Yeah, absolutely, they will do. Yes. Yes, come on, Villa lads. Yeah, absolutely. Lee says, I can even see us beating Chelsea as well. I can as well, because if we've got Champions League sewn up, when we go to Chelsea, it's a dead rubber game. So at the end of the day, they've got nothing to play for. We've got nothing to play for. But we'll be going there to win. And I believe we can do. Paul says, I hate Aston Villa, but never wanted them to win so much in my life. Exactly, that's the thing. Daniela says, I think that mistake we fans make in transfers and not taking into account what players want. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Tanji says, Wout Faes own goal ×3. Yeah. Is that his XG, is it? Alan says, yes. Sefton says, 4-0 Monday night under the lights, the parade around the ground with all the players and the Bens. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, you know what it is. That's going to happen. Thing is, that would be great. If we can go and win that game, and the media hate it, Eddie Howe, because they're like, well, aren't you got, like she said last night to Eddie, well, you've got Champions League. I mean, he went, well, we've got another game to play. This is the Premier League. And she's like, yeah, but it's the Premier League. Anything can happen. And she says, I'm hoping next Monday we can just say to Eddie, oh, well, you've got Champions League now. How do you feel? And hopefully he'll come out and see how he feels. And I like the way Eddie Howe does it.
The next game. Concentrating on Chelsea.
Do you know what? I think he will do that, I've got a feeling he's going to say that. I've just got that feeling, Roly, that he would say something like that, to just to miff the media off and then go, no, actually, do you know what? Yes, we're really happy about being in the Champions League, by the way. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, the thing is, I can hear something that's getting louder and louder. Can you hear it again? That's music to my ears. Is that music to everybody's ears, isn't it? Hey? Just to hear that anthem played out on a weekly basis, depending how far we go in the competition. So, yeah, that would be absolutely fantastic. And sorry, guys, I had to put that on again. I couldn't resist. And anyway,
I was just going to say about the Champions League next season. It's the experience the players are going to get, which is the important thing. If we get out the group stages, great. If we don't, hopefully it will be third, so we drop into the Europa League.
Yes.
And if we get out of the group stage, that's a bonus.
Yeah. Lee says, I hope to see Klopp losing the plot against Villa. Well, he'll have to do it in the stands because he's not on the touchline, is he, tomorrow? So they'll just have to give him some, is it cuttlebone or something, whatever they use for birds to trim their teeth or beaks. Cuttlestone. Something like that's called anyway. BT says, I hope we don't exhaust time we have to sign players as we need to settle them in within the squad pre-season. I think we'll be very quick in this market. I really do. Sefton says that's music of the elite football.
Yeah, I think the time it took to sign players is more to do with the selling clubs than us.
Yeah.
And I know that we had a lot of trouble with Premier League clubs trying to buy players.
I mean, this is from, obviously, last night after the game. We saw this come out, and there's the team pick. And who's at the front of that pick? It's our good old JT. Yes, it's Jason Tyndall, right at the front of that pick. And, obviously Eddie Howe must have wanted Jason Tyndall at the front of that pick on purpose, just to send the media into a frenzy. And,
I really hope that on Monday, if we win, and we've secured Champions League, that when they do the team pick, Eddie Howe's at front and centre.
Yes,
just for one picture. Last home game, mission accomplished. Eddie in the front. I know he doesn't like to. He's always at the back. I mean, in his press conference, when there's talking about obviously players going for young Isak and Botman for the young player, Trippier for the player of the season, and he's in there for manager. And he says, "Well, I'm in the manager of the season, but that's more to do with the players and the coaching staff. I just sort of represent all of them."
Yeah. I mean, I wonder how Harry Maguire feels about us getting into potential Champions League. And this is the reaction that Harry Maguire gave about Newcastle being in the Champions League. Ten Hag was asked, and this was his reaction. We love it, don't we? We love it. We've got to have a laugh, haven't we? And I mean, the Minions. I asked a question: will Liverpool beat Villa? And this is what the Minions said. So they're laughing, thinking there's no chance Liverpool's beating Villa. That would be absolutely fantastic. Cuttlefish, Tony says, Lee, yeah, that's what I was meaning, Lee. Cuttlefish, yeah. You'll have to trim his teeth on that, won't he? Lee says, fantastic from Eddie and the coach and staff, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. Right. Roly, we're going to be coming to the end of the show soon, but out of the players last night, I mean, there was a fair few players who could have been a man of the match, and there was so many it could have singled out for man of the match. Miggy was up there as man of the match, even Callum. J7, I thought he had a cracking game as well. Dan Burn, even Botman had a great game. Trippier. There was just so many of them that had great games last night. For me personally, my man of the match is this man, Kieran Trippier. I thought he was outstanding. His set pieces were much better last night. The delivery was much better. It's looking like the Kieran Trippier that we've known that can put a great cross in. And I thought his defending was brilliant last night. And he was pinging the ball around. He's a class act. And he might be 33 in September, but I tell you what, he's still playing like he's a bloody teenager. But for me, Kieran Trippier gets my vote. Also you can throw Bruno into the mix because he had a great game. But like I say, Kieran Trippier is my man of the match. Who is yours, Roly?
I'm going to agree with you. I thought Trips was excellent. Even in the post-match interview, he was complaining about being interviewed with someone so tall because he's interviewed with Dan Burke. But yes. As you said, I thought his defending was superb. His set pieces, which people have been moaning about for a while, were on point. He essentially gets 2 assists on that. I thought that he's great. I mean, in a way, he made Wilson's goal because he shrugged off, was it Matoma, to get the ball to Miggy, who went on the run and then played Wilson in. I just thought he was superb. As you say, you mentioned a load of players who had good games. Like a special mention for Joe Willock, who I thought was exceptional till he did his hamstring. Everyone did their jobs well. Even the substitutes, when Elliot Anderson came on, he did what he needed to do. He wasn't there to be flash. He was there to help the press, and he did it really well. He didn't get the chance to score because Bruno took a shot before it got to him and missed.
So Wayne says Miggy man the match for him. Trippier was a close one for me as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
they all played well, really.
Yeah, I thought
Lee says they all played out their skins.
I thought Miggy was very close to man of the match in my eyes, but.
Alan says, agree, Roly. Trippier was excellent last night. A few of us should get a special mention. Absolutely, Alan. I mean, the whole team was great, really, wasn't it? But, Trippier was the standout, I think. I mean, Miggy was great as well. So, yeah, all in all, it was a fantastic all-round performance last night from the team. And, and Eddie Howe got his tactics absolutely spot on. And, we won the game, and absolutely brilliant coaching again from our great manager, who, if, like we say, Guardiola doesn't win the Champions League, then surely Eddie Howe has got to be manager of the season as well. So, yeah, absolutely. And also, just to mention as well on that part, the fans, they played their part last night. St James's Park was absolutely bouncing again last night. Absolutely terrific. And it's going to be doing the same on Monday evening. So, Roly, before we go, do you want to let people know where they can find you, please?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Pole67.
So if you go and give Roly a follow, he will follow you back. If you've liked what you see, then please smash the like. It really does help the channel with search results, so smash those likes. That'd be great. Thank you if you haven't done so already. Also, if you are brand new to the channel, then please hit the subscribe. It's free to do so. It helps the channel grow, and the bell notification tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming show. And I'll say at the beginning of the show, I was 27 away from 600, so absolutely fantastic. Lee says, glad I decided to go to Darlow early tomorrow morning so I can watch the show tonight. Big thumbs up for Tony and Roly. Cheers, Lee. Thank you very much indeed, mate. Much appreciated. Wayne says, that Elliot is a very exciting prospect future in Newcastle. Yes, he will be, yeah. I'd like to see him on the left wing because I think he plays better on the left wing rather than centre mid, in my opinion, as we saw against Forest. But coming up on the channel tomorrow, I've got the Final Whistle podcast. Jack from a Leicester fan. Very nice guy is Jack. He's joining me at 1 p.m. tomorrow, so we're going to do the match preview against Leicester on Monday. And on Sunday, there'll be a few vlogs uploaded as I'm going to Wembley to watch taking the FA Trophy, sit with the Gateshead fans and watch Gateshead hopefully beat Halifax Town. FC Halifax Town, I should say. It's their new name is because it went out of business. And let's hope Gateshead can bring the trophy back home to the northeast of England. It's obviously the FA Trophy is the non-league equivalent of the FA Cup. But, it's a silverware at the end of the day. And let's see if Mike Williamson and his boys can do it. Off Wiedersehen saying all, off to work. Bring on Monday to Sefton. Enjoy your night at work, Sefton. And if there's any Everton fans there, give them a good wind-up, mate. And especially the Liverpools as well. Wayne says, great show, lads, as always. Thank you very much indeed, Wayne. And great to have you on as well. You can find me at TonyTooley31 on Twitter. So if you follow me, I will follow you back. Also, same handle on Twitch. And also on Facebook, it's All Black and White TV. Request to join and I'll get you straight in. Mark Kerrigan says, good evening to you. He says, do the guys rate Brighton's McAllister the midfielder? Yes, Mark, I certainly do. I would have him. He's tremendous. I think he's brilliant. And I mean, to be honest with you, when he got man the match in the World Cup final, I wasn't surprised. He's a top player, and
I thought he was the best player in that Argentinian team throughout the tournament. It's a travesty that Messi got the golden ball because he wasn't even the best player in the Argentinian squad.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was absolutely he was a standout player, Roly. Definitely was. And
terrific. And it's been terrific this season as well.
Mm-hmm. And if you're new at the channel, Mark, if you can hit that subscribe, that would be great, mate. Thank you very much. Lee says, is the match on Sky Gateshead? It's on BT Sports, mate. It's on BT Sports today. Wayne says, how are you, Gateshead? Absolutely. Bye, guys. Top show. Thank you very much indeed, Alan. Have a great evening, mate. Whatever you're doing. And he says, McAllister, top player. Absolutely,
Yes,
Alan. Absolutely, mate.
World class.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see what happens in the summer, I should imagine. But anyway, guys, remember, the future's bright. The future's black and white. It's bye-bye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
How are you, the lads?